Welcome back to another episode, another week of the No Diet Club podcast. I'm super excited to be one, back in your ear holes, two, back on your screens because as I said last week, I'm starting to record my podcasts to upload them to YouTube. So if you are watching on YouTube, hello, you can see my face. I am definitely not as made up as I was last week. It is all natural. But I was having a conversation with my coach just before, and I felt really compelled to record this episode because I know that I am not the only person struggling with this. And I know that I've mentioned it, probably not on the podcast, but I've definitely spoken to clients about it before, and that is diet PTSD. Okay. So hear me out. Hear me out. When I say diet PTSD, I mean if I try and do things now that I previously have done in different dieting experiences, it gives me the ick and I can't do it. Okay. So I was talking to her about my meal prep this week and I made Texas chicken. I made 5 meals of Texas chicken. I had it for lunch on Monday. Yesterday, I avoided it and had sushi for lunch, which is fine. It's an absolutely fine choice to have. It fit into my calories. It was fine. But when I'm thinking about having lunch today, I don't want Texas chicken. And like not in the way that, oh yeah, I don't feel like Texas chicken. I feel like if I try and eat it, it's the whole thing is giving me the ick, okay? Because the Texas chicken, I'm sure it's delicious. It's fine. I had it for lunch on Monday. It's chicken with vegetables and rice and like a tomatoey sauce. Where have I tried to force chicken and rice down my throat before? When I was dieting and when I was on really low calories and when I was only eating clean food. And so I think the fact that I've got chicken and it's effectively chicken and rice. It's effectively chicken and rice. I don't want it. I also can't have rice cakes for the same reason because I used to force rice cakes down my throat when I was dieting. I used to have like peanut butter on rice cakes. And again, the food is not inherently gross. Okay, there's nothing wrong with the actual food of rice cakes. However, the connection that they have and the association I have of these particular foods link right back to when I was trying to follow some kind of diet, like insert the diet name here. I don't know which one it was. So rice cakes, I have diet PTSD from. Chicken and vegetables, I have diet PTSD from. Stir fries, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Would I have a stir fry? I would not. I'm trying to think of what other examples there are. If you have any diet PTSD examples, I would love to hear from you. Either leave them in the comments below or jump over to my Instagram at bloombabex_. Send me a message with what your diet PTSD is. What gives you the ick now? And so I wanted to share this experience because I've prepped 5 days worth of this Texas chicken. I've eaten one day. I now have 4 containers, 4 meal prep containers of Texas chicken sitting in the fridge. Am I going to eat it? Probably not. Probably not. And I was sitting there today thinking like, oh, yuck. Like, oh, I could actually, the thought process was, oh, I could order myself a yummy lunch today. And then I thought, why would you do that? You have prep in the fridge. You're in a calorie deficit, like you're being intentional, you are doing really well, you have really enjoyed your food up until now. Why is your mind wandering to Uber Eats? And I was like, I've made the connection. I've made the connection. So now what I'm going to do is find something else for lunch because the last 2 weeks I've been having like a cheesy beef bowl thing. I meal prepped it. I meal prepped 5 days worth and then another 5 days worth last week and I loved it. I looked forward to lunch every day. I'm like, oh, yum, I get to have my cheesy beef bowl with the melted cheese and the fresh salsa and the coriander on the top. I can't wait to eat that. So it's not the prep and it's not the reheating, it's what the meal is. So instead of like wondering why I can't be consistent, why I can't stick to my meal prep, why I'm about to fuck up my calorie deficit with ordering a huge Uber Eats meal. I sat down and was like, why do I feel this way? I was just a little bit inquisitive, a little bit curious. And so I need to make something else. I need to make something else. Today, I'm defrosting some dumplings. I made homemade dumplings a couple of weeks ago, and I still have some of those in the freezer. They are calorie friendly, macro friendly, deficit fine. I'm going to have those for lunch today, but for Thursday and Friday, I need to come up with a different solution because I'm not eating the food that gives me the ick. Something that's really important in a calorie deficit is having food you actually enjoy, food that is delicious, food that you want to eat, because that is going to help you stay consistent. And I know we're literally, this whole podcast is called the No Diet Club, right? So we're needing to think about what foods don't make me feel like I'm on a diet. Chicken, vegetables, and rice, big red flag. Big red, I'm on a diet flag. So if you learn anything from this, I want it to be don't prep the foods that you previously have had a bad experience with, bad association with. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And so this also can reinforce restriction as well. Like if I think of my frame of mind, if I think of how I felt when I was doing those diets, I felt like there was only good and bad food. Food was not really something to be enjoyed when you are in a calorie deficit. Honestly, the more miserable I felt, the more success I thought I was having. And that's true. Like I did lose a lot of weight in a short period of time. However, I was miserable the whole time and regained the weight 1, 2, 3 times after losing and gaining. And so with the kind of restriction or scarcity mindset I had around food, no wonder it sat up on a pedestal for me. Like no wonder cheese or like homemade pizzas or I'm trying to think of examples. Chocolate, ice cream, those soul foods, what I would describe them as soul foods now, no wonder they literally never left my brain. The food noise was so fucking loud because it's exactly the same if someone tells you not to think about a pink elephant. What's in your mind immediately? A bright pink elephant. For me, the elephant is on a tricycle balancing like one of those beach balls on its trunk. I don't know why. That's just the image I have in my head. So when someone says you can only eat oats for breakfast, rice cakes for a snack, maybe you're allowed some jam if you've got a few extra calories. For lunch, it's a chicken salad. For dinner, it's a beef stir fry. The only thing you're going to want to eat is what you're not allowed to eat. So the more that you are able to remove those rules, remove those restrictions, actually eating nutrient-dense food becomes enjoyable. Because, for example, you can have a cheesy beef bowl for lunch. There's vegetables, there's protein, there's carbohydrates, it's calorie friendly. You can meal prep it if you choose to. Great option. You can have homemade pizzas. For the last 2 nights, I have made hot honey pizza. Like literally honey. Hot honey. It is delicious. It's so, so good. And there's been vegetables on the pizza. There's been protein on the pizza. Even chorizo sausage on the pizza. I've had fries both nights. I looked forward to my dinner. Tonight, I'm having a Big Mac burger bowl. Yum. Like, I'm excited about dinner, yet it is diet. Like, I'm on a diet because I'm on a calorie deficit, because I'm in a calorie deficit right now. But it doesn't feel like that because my food is enjoyable. I have Nutella on my breakfast every morning. I have 2 Tim Tams every day. I have an ice cream after dinner. So actually making your food enjoyable, honestly, plays the biggest part in you being able to be consistent. And when I say like the only thing that should change between when you're in like a maintenance period and when you move into a calorie deficit is just a few little tweaks. Maybe you have like 10 grams less cheese on your homemade pizza. Maybe you cut out one of your snacks. Maybe you have slightly less pasta in your pesto pasta bake or something. It shouldn't feel like this overwhelming restriction or overwhelming, like you have to give up the foods that you love, because it should just be a small tweak. I truly believe that a calorie deficit is only as successful as the lifestyle or the maintenance period before it. Having healthy habits and being in the mindset where you can have everything. There is no food that you cannot have in maintenance, on a calorie deficit, whatever. It's just about being intentional with the quality, well, quality all the time, but quantities, and just making smart choices. Like, no, you can't have a whole block of chocolate. But should you be eating a whole block of chocolate anyway? No. If you have a roll of chocolate and you know that you can have a roll of chocolate the next day and the next day and the next day and the next day, the shininess of the chocolate kind of wears off. Like, you normalize being able to have chocolate. And that's exactly what making meals that you enjoy is going to do. Great. We're talking about diet PTSD. I recognized it straight away, and now I've just told you exactly what I'm going to do about it. So, nice, short, sharp episode this week, but I just wanted to jump in. It was on my mind. I had something to say, so I thought I would jump in and record it straight away. Thank you so much for allowing me in your ear holes and on your screens. If you don't subscribe, is that what? I'm not a YouTuber. I don't really understand how that works. But make sure you follow the podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss the video episodes of the podcast. As always, I would love your feedback and I would love to hear your diet icks. So please send them through. Keep being amazing. I've got a super exciting episode coming for you next week. Me and my coach, who is also a really good friend, we sat down and spoke about what it's like being a plus size coach in an industry, in the fitness industry, that wasn't necessarily built for us to be there. So look out for that next week. I'm super excited to release that. Have a fabulous morning, afternoon, night, week, weekend, whenever you're listening to this, and I will be back soon.